Thank you, Philip. Hello. I'm Flaviu, co-founder of iMedicare, and I'd just like to share with you some of the hard lessons I learned raising a few $100,000 and many meetings trying to raise a lot more money. First, how many of you here are raising money right now or planning to raise money in the future? All right? And of those, how many of you don't have a product right now, just an idea for a product? All right. If you don't have a product, this presentation is a waste of your time. Go build something, anything, something that you can show, a real demo. No, life is too short to make PowerPoint presentations and business models without a product. Assuming the rest of you do have a product, why do you need money? The reason I needed money was because my co-founder and I were completely broke. No? But can I go to an investor and say, excuse me, Mr. Investor, some of the ones that are here, can I please have some money to pay for myself, to pay for, well, I have rent, food, toothpaste. Oh, the ROI. I didn't think about that. The return of investing in toothpaste. Man, I don't know. I just really need the money right now. How many of you think it's okay to do that? How many of you think it's okay to go to an investor and say, I just need some money to pay for myself? There was half of a hand, but it went back down. So there's nobody. But it turns out, it is okay. You just have to use the right words. So you want to say, we're expanding our tech infrastructure to meet demand. Or we're maybe hiring a new sales team to scale our sales efforts, right? Obviously, you can't hire a sales team if you don't brush your teeth, right? So what you don't want to say is, look, we're completely broke. I just really need the money. Okay, please give it to me. Don't be desperate. Don't be desperate at all. And also, don't raise money for building product, right? So we're going to hire these 5 amazing developers, and we're going to build the best product since GeoCities. No, that's not going to happen. Investors know building a product takes a long time. And your 5 mediocre developers, they're not going to be able to do it fast enough. Right? So asking investors for money to build product is like asking them, okay, take all your money, put it in a nice little pile, take a match, and poof, set it on fire. It's the exact same thing. So don't ask for money for product, ask for money to grow your sales team. But how much money should you ask for? Very simple. As much as you can possibly get your hands on, all right? If you're raising money for the first time, you probably have no revenue, and that's fantastic, okay? This is gonna be the easiest money that you will ever raise, because as soon as you have $1 in revenue, everybody's gonna value your company at $1 times something, 2, 5, 10, something. But when you have no revenue, your valuation can be anything. Your imagination is the only limit to what the value of the company is. So, how much should you raise? As much as you can possibly get your hands on. But start with $100,000 to about $1 million. It has to be enough to get you either to being profitable or the next amount of money that you're going to get, your Series A. In the Series A, you're going to raise about $1 to $5 million. And that equates roughly with 3 times your revenue. So if you raise $100,000 in your seed round, you're going to need about $300,000 in revenue before you can raise a $1 million Series A. If you're super ambitious, you raise $1 million in your seed round, you're going to need $1.5 million in revenue to get to the next Series A. So however much you raise, you just got to make sure it gets you to this next level of financing or to profitability. Otherwise, you're screwed, okay? It's going to be like being a leper, getting leprosy. You know, everybody knows you have it and nobody wants it, so they're going to stay as far away from you as they possibly can, and they're going to wait until you die and your body completely disintegrates, and then they're going to come in like vultures from the top and just pick the little pieces that are left out of your startup and your team. Does that sound exciting? Well, who are going to be these lucky vultures that will invest in your company? Is it going to be Andreessen Horowitz, Sequoia, Kleiner Perkins? Has anyone here raised money from any of these venture capital firms? Make sure. I hate to be the one that breaks your dreams, but it's probably not going to be these guys. 80% of all seed rounds are financed by family and friends. You know, your mom, your dad, your rich uncle, someone you met at Pennsylvania last year and kept in touch for a year, and they've been kind of nice and supportive to you. But you may say, hold on a second, I don't have any friends. I don't have a rich uncle. I don't know anybody. Sure you do. Think of all the people you know. You know, if somebody has just $20,000 to spend on a new car, they probably also have $10,000 to invest in your startup. Our first investors were a guy that I met at Rotary International, as Philip said, and his friend, who's a banker, and I never even met the guy. I still haven't met him. It's been 2 years he invested in our company, never met the guy. Also, a guy I met and his wife that I met at a tech meetup, very much like Pennsylvania, and we just kept in touch for a year, and he invested. My father and a small venture capital firm. So think hard of all the people that you know that either have $10,000 or know other people that have $10,000. And then make a list of all of them, all right? There you go. Look, does not have to be super close acquaintances. To get those 6 people I told you, I had a list of over 120 people. It's just people that you met before. If you met me at Pennsylvania, put me on the list, right? Then you take the list and make a customized email with just, hey, how's it going? Here's where our company is at, some exciting things that are happening next. And then, look, if you're interested in investing, ask us for the investor deck. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The point isn't that they're going to send you a bag of money in the mail. It's just that you want them to respond to the email and say, yeah, I want to be interested. And be confident when you ask these folks these questions, because this is not the last $10,000 that they have. You know, you're not taking money out of like their kids' food, account. Okay? They're probably going to put it in a bank account somewhere that gets 3% interest. You're giving them an opportunity to be a part of a startup without doing zero work, right? You're giving them the opportunity to make 1,000% out of their money. They should be thankful to you for giving them such an opportunity to be a part of the future of the world with just a little money and no effort. Okay, so you're really giving these people an opportunity. When they respond and ask for a deck, here's the deck, what you want to give them. 10 slides, not too long, really very, very short and to the point. What problem are you solving? How are you solving it? Any projections that how you're going to make money in the next 3 years? The traction and milestones that you hit recently, the team, and what you're going to do with the money. Not product, right? We already went over that. It's like setting money on fire. And then giving them a close date. So in 3-4 weeks, we're about to close the round. Let me know if you want to meet for coffee and discuss things further. Okay, then you meet for coffee. And the point of this meeting is just to paint the vision of what you're trying to build. Build a friendship with these people, not to ask for money. See, there's this saying, if you ask for money, you get advice. But if you ask for advice, you might actually get money. Okay? So after this meeting, they're probably going to disappear. A third of the people you're going to talk to aren't even real investors. They're just trying to waste your time. Okay? So the other 2/3 you want to follow up with. So a few weeks before you close, you want to follow up. Hey, how's it going? Just want to make sure you're still interested. Let's tie things up. We're about ready to close the round. And then once they say, okay, let's do it, boom, you send them the documents. It's got to be e-signed with one click. These companies can do it. All they have to do is open their email, click once, and the document is signed. We'll talk in a second about what documents to send, but for now, this is most important. If you remember anything out of this whole presentation, remember this. No investment is final until the money is in your hands. This is very, very important. I have a stack of signed contracts from investors that never sent 1 cent. Okay? I have friends that got checks from investors that bounced with insufficient funds. Promises mean nothing. Cash is king. So, if you want to raise money from friends and family, went over that. You can also raise money from customers, and this is great, from pre-sales on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Lastly, you might want to raise money from strangers. These are VCs, venture capitalists, angel groups, Angel List, which is the angel.co website. Seed stage may be too early for these guys, but they're still emailing you with questions, and they want to meet and learn more about what you're doing. Why are these strangers so interested in what you are doing? Is it because they just love you and your startup and your idea? Maybe, probably not though. Like, what did the VCs really want? What does a VC want? $1 billion company or $1 billion opportunity. And they very much fear they're going to miss it. And even worse, that they miss the whole industry altogether, right? Social networking, mobile, big data. And so they're reaching out to you to learn what the next hot trend is, because they don't know. And so you become a free teacher to these people to teach them, hey, this is what's happening in the world. This is where things are going. And also, they may be reaching out to you to be nearby. In case your company does start doing really well, then they may invest in your Series A or Series B. But if your company does start doing well, you might want to take their money. Why not? Let's say you're growing really fast, and the competition's starting to come from behind, starting to catch you, and you really, really need to grab the market before it runs away from you, and you just need a lot of money to invest in sales and marketing, then VCs might be a great fit, okay? Not to build product, but to scale the sales team. VCs might also tell you, hey, we're going to introduce you to all these customers, big name customers and key important people in our network. And when it's time to sell the company, we know all these huge companies that can buy you. They may very well want to help you, but honestly, they just don't have the time and the expertise. You have 10 or 20 other companies to help do the same thing. Nobody knows your business better than you. And at the end of the day, you are the one that's going to get all those things done and make things happen, not some stranger VC that shows up every 3 months for your board meeting. So, the legal documents. We went over how to raise money, where from, what documents should you send? Well, first, what percentage of your company should you give? Let's take a survey. How many people think in a seed round they should give, let's say, 0 to 10% of the company? All right, a few people. How many of you think about 10 to 20% of the company? the same amount and perhaps the same people? And who thinks more than 20% of the company? The numbers are dwindling. We have pretty much an equal split with a lot of undecided. So the second group would have been right. You want to give about 15 to 20% of your company in every round, not just your seed round, any round. So when an investor comes to you and says, I want 50% of your company, or I want 35% of your company, say no, okay? Some people think just because you're not in Silicon Valley right now, you also don't have access to the internet, right? You can't go online and see what these deals are. They're public. Just go to crunchbase.com and you know just as much as Mark Zuckerberg about any of these deals. So do make sure you look at what average valuations are and what percentages. 20%, your valuation should be about $1 to $5 million. That's what companies in your area are raising right now, outside of Silicon Valley. So that's the valuations you're looking at getting. But don't get too concerned about valuation and percentage, as long as they're reasonable, right? Not outrageous terms. Take them. Don't lose a deal over the valuation. You know, and this is not just for investment, it's for like employees as well. Let's say you hire a great person that really cares about your company, really passionate about what you're doing, truly helps. Share equity with them. Share equity with the folks that care about your business. You know, don't just be greedy and keep it all for yourself. Because, see, simple math, 100% of zero is still zero, okay? And your company's worth zero right now if you're just starting out, and you have all of it, and you can keep all of it. It's fine. But to build a company, let's say you really build a great company with a great team, and it's worth $30 million. Well, whether you have 50% of $30 million or 20% of $30 million is still a lot of money. You're still a millionaire, so you're going to be all right not being greedy and really sharing with your team. Documents. Documents you want to use, don't use a lawyer, don't use all these like expensive services. People much smarter than you or your lawyer have already created documents that are much better, okay? Y Combinator has a set of documents, very simple, very easy to use. All it does is say, okay, if you get an investment, let's say you get a $10,000 investment at a cap of $1 million, a cap is the same thing as a valuation that we talked about. That's going to be 1% of the company when the next Series A comes or will get acquired. So keep it simple. Leave all the complicated terms for when the VCs start making the terms. And you're going to want to negotiate those terms. They're negotiable and they're tough. Two things you got to remember about VC terms that are very important. One is board seats. Right now, you have 2 board seats, you and your co-founder, and you decide everything. When a VC comes, they're going to want 1 or 2 board seats for their partners. And now let's say you have 4, well, you have to have one to break the tie, so let's get an independent board member that each of the parties approve of, right? An independent person. Great, so that's fine, but what happens when, let's say you need to make a decision like selling the company, and the co-founders are on one page, the VCs are on the other page. Who do you think that 5th guy is going to vote for? See, who got him the job in the first place, right? Like, who recommended them as a board member? So be aware of that. You know, if things are going really bad, the board may decide they no longer need your services. So perhaps in the Series A, try not to lose complete control of the company. Second thing to remember, preferred shares. See, you have a stock in your company, and investors have a whole nother stock. Okay, they have preferred stock. What's preferred stock? Well, you should have read those legal terms that the VC gave you, because it outlines all of them in 100 pages. But here's one that you really, really need to know, is liquidation preference. That means when you do get bought, who gets paid first? Let's go over a very simple example. Let's say you started a seed round, you started a company with a seed round of 500,000, gave 20%, then you did a Series A for 1.5 million, gave another 20%. So you still own 60%. But let's say things aren't going so well, okay? And you need a loan to just kind of wind things down, try to find somebody to help you out to sell the company. VCs aren't going to put any more money, things aren't going very well. So you take the $200,000 loan, you try to find some buyer, and you do find a buyer, and you sell it for $2 million. What happens to the $2 million? Well, the $2 million, first you got to pay back the loan that you took to do this, right? $200K plus a little bit of interest. Then you pay back the VCs, right? The $1.5 million, the seed round and the Series A are preferred liquidation preferences. So they get their money first. Then of what's left, investors also get the 40%. Remember, they had the 40%. So now there are, 168,000 left for you and your co-founder to split, right? Wrong. Don't forget about lawyer fees, right? Lawyers got to be paid too. And so with 200,000 in lawyer fees, you and your great co-founder are left with nothing. So negotiate those terms. When you're looking at the terms, be sure to negotiate. You might say, come on, these VCs, they have dozens of companies, they do this all the time. Would you do this once in your life? How are you going to negotiate? Well, you do have one very key weapon in all of this, and that is revenue. Okay, you have paying customers. A dollar that you make from a customer is much, much more valuable than a dollar that an investor gives you. You see, they're going to want that dollar back times 10. So try to get more of these dollars, more paying customers, and the more of these you get, the more customers you get, the better you will be able to negotiate those terms. Look, I know it sounds complicated. It is complicated, but you're building something great, and you're really giving these people an opportunity to be part of a great thing in this world. You're giving them a great chance at greatness, and they should be grateful to you for giving it to them. So, look, have confidence, keep your head up high, and crush it. So, thank you guys.
Thank you. A lot of valuable advice. So I think that is great. So we'll have time for one question from the audience. So who wants to ask Flaviu about raising money over there?
Hi, great piece of advice indeed. My question is, after how many months did you get your first round of investment, and at which round of investment are you at the moment with iMedicare?
So we started in January 2012, and we raised our seed round in June of 2013, so a year and a half. We have not raised since, not for lack of trying, it's just for lack of agreement on those terms that I mentioned. So, does that answer your question?
Yep, fair enough, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Flaviu.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip.